What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Progress on Purpose podcast, where we believe in intentional, purposeful living. We are a community of people who seek to be intentional about how we think and behave towards an intended goal. We believe that what we say, think, and do governs our ability to progress towards our goal and ultimately lead to success. Thank you so much for joining into episode number 3 of the show in its first season, entitled The Winning Season. In this season, we will be discussing what it takes to prepare for and walk in your winning season, or what is known to be the greatest season of your life. In today's show, I have invited my friend and boss lady, Mrs. Leshell Salter, to join us and drop some gems about what winning looks like to her, how she entered into her winning season, and the importance of branding. Lee Salter is the CEO, founder, and creative director of the Lee Salter Creative Firm. She is a New Jersey native, where she graduated from Montclair State University in Montclair, New Jersey. Go Red Hawks. She graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in biology, and since then has maintained a career over the past 5 years as a scientist for the state of Virginia's newborn screening laboratory. In 2013, she started a career as a wardrobe stylist, having opportunity to work with celebrity wardrobe stylist Sean Melson and other stylists and style celebrities. But Lee had so much more to offer. While styling a client, she found herself not just dressing them, but sharing her creative ideas and seeing beyond what they were preparing for. So the Lee Salter Creative Firm originated as an idea to create a one-stop shop and full service for branding. Lee also offers creative consulting to help those who need to strategize their ideas. This can consist of branding services with wardrobe styling, photography and makeup, content development, and offering creative insight in areas needed. Lee also serves as the creative director for Liberation Church and CEO Magazine in Richmond, Virginia. I hope that you have some napkins handy, because this episode is a full meal. Without further ado, I introduce to you Mrs. Lee Salter. Hi, Leshell. Welcome to the Progress on Purpose podcast.
Hey, Michelle. Thank you for having me today.
Awesome. I am so excited that you could join us today. And more than anything, it brings me so much pleasure to have a platform to share all of the awesomeness that you bring to the table with the world. I think that you are amazing.
Oh, stop. You're amazing. Stop. These people don't know how long we've been friends. So,
Right. We go way, way, way back.
Yes.
Well, after today, more and more people are going to know just how dope you are. And I'm sure that you're going to inspire so many people to live intentionally and to pursue their passions. I don't know if you remember, I got a quick story to share.
Okay.
About, oh God, maybe 5 years ago. I don't even know how long it was, but you were still living in Jersey.
Well, then that's like 7+ years. Yeah, like 7, because I've been married for 6 years. So
Oh
it's like,
wow. Ooh,
yeah.
time is flying. So about 7 years ago, I was, first of all, I've always admired like how you dress, how you put clothes together. And so I know I begged you to take me to the thrift store with you, because I wanted to see like how you pick things out, how you, because I had no idea how to do that. And so I watched you, just like you would pull stuff off the rack and you would be like, you could pair this with this, and you could wear this with this kind of jeans, and this is a blazer that you need to have in your closet. And I was sitting there like, what? How does she even see all of this stuff? Like, how do you have an eye for this stuff? And why don't I have that same eye? Like, why can't I see this? And it's just been so beautiful to see how your creative eye has blossomed over time. I've watched you work with celebrity clients. I've watched you put things together for different first ladies. And it's just amazing to see how you have blossomed and how your business has now formed, and you're like pushing yourself into that space. And I'm sure you can even understand that while you're styling people, while you're helping people brand, you're doing so much more. Like you're putting and building confidence in them. You're preparing them for their next season. You're pouring into them in ways that, you know, they're not able to do for themselves. So if you don't know it, girl, you are doing the Lord's work.
Oh, thank you.
So if you could just start by telling us a little bit about how you got started. Like, how did you even know to get into what you're doing?
Wow, I mean that's a pretty loaded question.
Take your time.
But just to give everyone a brief synopsis of how I got started, I would say that it was just one day I had a dream. And like in the dream, somehow or another, it was like Oprah in my dream, and I was like styling her on set, and it was like a pretty major thing going on. And I woke up and I was telling my husband, I was like, "Yo, I had this dream, and I was doing this and doing that." Mind you, like never even thought about being a stylist at the time because I was just kind of like, I love clothes, you know. I already had my profession in science, so I was just like, I'm good with just working my 9 to 5. But when I had that dream, it was so real because I'm not really a dreamer.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people are. I'm not really a dreamer, so I don't remember my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I have dreams, but I don't remember them all. But this one was real vivid, and so literally had that dream, and then like either that same day or the next day, I had saw that a celebrity stylist on Instagram was offering a styling course, and
Mm.
so I was like, oh, this styling course, and it was like all this money at the time, and we were newly married, so I was like, oh, he's not gonna be for this. I was like, he's not gonna want to pay that. And so as soon as I mentioned it, he was like, go. And
Mm.
I was like, go? He was like, yeah. So I didn't know anybody. I wasn't going with friends. This was just me. So I just got in the car, literally me and my sister, and she drove me up like 3 hours away from home to go to this styling class. And I get there and realize like it's a whole world, you know. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was just like, honestly, I didn't know anything about the styling business. I'm not even going to sit on this conversation and act like I was like a connoisseur of fashion because, as you know, Michelle, I mean, we were in our books, you know,
Right.
trying to be doctors.
Right.
So the last thing I thought about was actually pursuing anything in the styling or the fashion industry, excuse me. So that was nothing that I researched, nothing that I knew about. So I'm willing to admit that that was not anything that I was like on top of or just knew anything about.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got there, it was just like a whole eye opener. And so at this specific class, she was talking about like the one person that she was impressed with, that she wanted them to be like her intern. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, these people are dope in here. Like, she would never pick me to be an intern, whatever, whatever. So I send her an email after the course was over. You know, I inquired about being an intern, and I was like, I'm probably not going to hear anything back. And literally, she remembered who I was, and she was like, would love for you to be my intern. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be an intern, you know? And so, I mean, it really taught me a lot about the fashion industry, about styling. And that's just where it all kind of started. I would travel with her to some of like the biggest names on set to help her and assist her. And it was a really big eye opener, but it's also very, very difficult to like grow in that field.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because I already had a 9 to 5 and I was trying to figure out how to make all that work, I was just like, I don't know, you know, I didn't know how passionate I really was until I started to work closely with my pastor and first lady, and I just started to really, you know, work on them and their style. And I would just like, we'll be in sessions on a photo shoot, and we're brainstorming on different ideas and different things like that. And I really felt like the entrepreneurial spirit just started to grow in me, and I was like, wow, I feel like I want a business, you know. And I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, I think I'm ready to just like do something different, but I don't want to be just a fashion stylist because I'm so much more than that. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
can't box myself into that. And plus, I kind of felt like, I really wanted to enlarge, my services. Even though that's something that I love to do, I just felt like I wanted to enlarge my services and not box myself into one thing. And it was like I was having a conversation with my pastor, and he was like, "You should do like a creative consulting business. You're so creative, this, that, or whatever." And I was just like, it was like a light bulb hit me, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like, yeah, that's what I should do." And then it was just like, from that point on, I really just dug into that idea,
Mm-hmm.
started writing things on paper. They invested in me, they backed me 100% with where I wanted to go, and so did my family. And I was just ready. I was just like, I don't know anything about this. I haven't researched it, but I'm going to formulate it, the best way I can, and I'm going to learn as I go. And so that's pretty much the start of things. I started off wanting to be a doctor, and
Mm-hmm.
because that profession is just as hard as to get in, and I lost my mom in that process and everything else like that, it was very difficult to stay motivated in that field. But even now, I still work my 9 to 5, praise God. And
Mm-hmm.
I still work in the science field as a scientist, but it is fulfilling after work and on weekends and everything else like that, to still have something else that I'm passionate about and watching it grow. And hopefully, this is something that I can do all day, every day.
Wow, you said so much, and I wanted to like pause you, stop you, but I picked up a pen and started writing things down that I want us to unpack. There were a couple of intentional decisions that you made that you talked about that I think were so profound. One of them is how when you after you had the dream, you decided to have a conversation with your husband about going to the styling course. And I think that's so amazing that you, in the beginning, involved your husband in the process. I think you guys were newly married around that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure, like, cause I'm married, so I understand like how nerve wracking that can be to be in a new marriage and tell your spouse like, "Hey, I got this idea." And I want to pursue that idea. And I'm sure you guys were still just like learning how to gel together and figure out what married life looked like. And so for you to come home and be like, hey, I got this idea, I want to pursue it, I'm sure that was a little nerve wracking. But your
Yeah,
husband was in the spirit.
I'm telling you.
And he was like, okay, go. So I think that was pretty dope. Also, there was, like I said, there were some intentional things that you did. Oh my God, girl, you said you got in that room and you were green, right? You didn't know anything. And so you
Mm-mm.
weren't trying to be, Miss Know It All. And you
Nope.
sat and you watched. Can you
Mm-hmm.
talk about the importance of sitting quietly
Mm.
and watching when you are not the person who knows it all? Can you just go a little deeper into that?
I mean, I'm a millennial. You're a millennial, so I can't. I know we've both been in positions where we try to act like we know something that we don't. You know what I mean? So I'm not even gonna sit here and act like I've never been in that position.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is, it is intimidating when you're in a room full of people who are knowledgeable about something that you want to gain knowledge on,
Mm-hmm.
and you're a little fearful to even admit that you don't know. But what I found, I've seen, it's so funny, I saw like a quote or something circulating on social media, and it's just like, you have no idea how intimidating you are, right? And
Mm.
you haven't even like reached your fullest potential. And sometimes you're in a room and you're like, you know absolutely nothing, and then the people around you are just like, oh my gosh, she seems like she's so on point, or she got everything
Mm-hmm.
together. And it's like, actually, no, this is day one.
Right.
Like, I know absolutely nothing. And so, but when you always stay in a position and a posture of wanting to learn and wanting to be taught, there's so much, room for growth and possibilities for you. And you don't, and it's so important to just keep your mouth shut and listen, because you'll come to find out that what you wanted to say made absolutely no sense.
Mm.
So it's just like, wait, I probably should wait to listen to this. I probably should, hear everything that needs to be said. Like, I was embarrassed. I didn't know everything about, the hottest designers or the designers that's been around for 20, 30 years, or noticing like how do you know this is Versace and that's this, that, or whatever. Like, honestly, I was like the type of person that if it looked good, I was going to wear it. And, it wasn't about the price and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't about the name brand.
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, one thing that I would say to like entrepreneurs or just any millennial or anyone that's like looking to grow is that you really just you have to be teachable. Like, you have to be open to learning new things and not acting as if you know it all already. And don't be afraid to be like you don't know.
I love that. I
Don't
love
be
that.
afraid to say that you don't know, because you don't know when you'll be the one in the teacher's seat,
Mm.
because you took that time. You took
Yes.
that time to sit back and listen, and now you've gained a whole new world of information, and you're able to be the teacher one day.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
You also talked about, you did another intentional move rather, where you, after the session had gone on, you didn't just leave and say, okay, that was nice. I did that. Check, mark that off on my vision board. But
Mm-hmm.
you reached out to the stylist and you said, hey, I'm looking to be an intern. And I'm like, was that a scary experience for you, or was that something that you stepped out on faith on? Like, what, how did you bring yourself to do that?
It was very scary. It was very scary, but I was just like, hey, you're behind a laptop. This is not face to face. You're sending an email. Write the best darn email you could you could come up with
Mm-hmm.
and send the email. You never know what's going to happen. Yes, it was very scary. I read it like 3 or 4 times. Even after I sent it, I just kept looking at it like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, all right, you said this, you said that. Just send it. It was very, very scary. But one of the things that I thank God for my mom teaching me is, fearlessness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like once you have it and you obtain it and you own it, it's like you're unstoppable. Whether you fail, whether you win, you tried.
Yeah.
And that's the piece that keeps you one step ahead to people who will never ever try it. Right? They might judge you. They might have every reason in the world why it wouldn't work, and it might actually calculate to be true, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing of the matter is, like, what's meant for you is not meant for the other person. So the fear factor that they had, and the fact that you don't have that fear factor, it might actually work for you, and they'll never know because you went out and you tried it. So yeah, it was very fear. It was a fearful experience. But I went out and I was just like, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try, and I do it to this day.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to network with someone, or if I want to know something about getting to my next level, I do not have a problem with asking, and trying to figure out a way to learn more and to be better. It doesn't, and it doesn't say anything less about you. And I know that there might be some things going around that makes people believe, especially with social media, that you got to be like tip top shape, with everything. But how are
Mm-hmm.
you ever gonna get better?
Right. Oh, you just stepped on my toes because for 2 years, wait, one, two, I think it's been 2 years ago, I went to a meet and greet, and Claire Sumners was there, and she had another special guest there who is a well known stylist. And I had on one of my ties, and she was like, "What's that?" And I said, "Oh, it's a tie that I make. I have a tie line." She was like, "Send that to me," right? And I was like, "Okay, let me get your information." Da, 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 da. Girl, the day after, I froze, and I've been frozen for 2 years, and it
Uh,
has haunted me. And whereas, I have stepped out in other areas of my life, starting, other mini businesses, making other pieces, sewing other things, but I know the potential. I know, like in the back of my mind, the potential that my ties have to do really well. And I know that, if I reach out to her, like for me, I was a little afraid, like what if she doesn't remember me, or what if she never responds, or what if. And it's crazy because in so many other areas of my life, I'm like, I don't care about the what if, I'm gonna go for it. But when it comes to my ties, it's like I'm scared. But you woke something up in me when you talked about, whether you fail or whether not, at least you try, and just being just walking in that fearlessness all together.
Just to piggyback off of you, it's so funny when you kept saying the word "what if." Like, it's okay to say what if, but be on the other side of it, because there's a negative and a positive to the what if.
Mm-hmm.
So what if she doesn't, what if it doesn't happen, what if, right? But then there's the other side of what if, like, what if this blows me off the map?
Right.
What if this is going to take me to my next level?
Yeah.
And it's all about perception. You see the word what if, and you can say something negative, but you can also see what if and be like, what if I'm the next new thing?
And that's the scary part, because then I'm like, oh my God, what I'm gonna do with my family, and what I'm gonna do with the goals that I have, and so it scares me because, I mean, you're married too, you have a child too, and it's just like, how do you it's crazy because I know the answers to these questions. Like, I know God's gonna make a way. I know it's gonna be okay. I know that, we know those things intuitively. Right. But when it comes to actually walking by faith, sometimes it could be like scary in some ways to just step out and do it. But I think it goes back to what you said, like involving your husband was major for you, because what if that one opportunity would have taken you, I mean, it did allow you to travel, and it did allow you to connect with so many other people. But what if it had taken it to another level? It's good to know that your husband was on board 1000%, and whatever punches you were going to roll with, he was going to roll with. And
Absolutely.
I think that's beautiful. I really do. And thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank
Yeah.
you. That right there, girl, please. And here's the thing. God woke me up not too long ago. It was about 4:30 in the morning. I'm actually looking right now at my desk. I have a 6, 12, and 18-month plan for my ties. I've already started like walking those things out, and like even just talking about it, just putting things on paper, talking about it with other people, just building myself up to get done what I need to get done, so that when I press go, I'm ready to go.
Right.
But at the same time, like you said, everything doesn't have to be in place. You don't have to have the prettiest, pictures or Instagram page. You just got to get started, and that's pretty much what the purpose of this podcast is to, like we said, do things on purpose, do things with intention. So even if it's those small baby steps add up, right? And as we walk by faith, we're able to eventually, take those small baby steps and make them into large goals that we have already achieved.
Absolutely.
There are so many other things that you talked about. I do want to ask this question. What are some things that inspire you in the line of business and the line of work that you do? Like, I know you have talked about working with different celebrities. Do those things inspire you, or what is it that keeps you going?
Well, one of the things that I'm really, really passionate about, I'm not necessarily on the forefront or like the face of it, but I am one of the marketing directors at my church.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started off being the creative director. And like I said, that was all birthed out of the conversation that I had with my pastor. And that was really the push for my business and everything that I'm doing right now. But I'm really passionate, believe it or not, about church growth,
Mm-hmm.
and just growing churches and businesses through marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing is, like, I don't know a lot of stuff about marketing, or
Mm-hmm.
I didn't start off knowing it, but working alongside another marketing director and really just taking time to learn the craft of marketing and really just using my creativity and them allowing me to share those ideas. And sometimes they'd be like, all right, we reel it back in, all right, yeah, this is still church, we want to do this, but we don't want to do that. But that has also like helped me tremendously. And so seeing lives change through that, and just seeing how people are greatly affected by our ministry, and being in the behind the scenes process of that, like that really motivates me. And I would love to be a part of building other churches up in that way as time progresses. So I'm like so thankful for the opportunity and the starting ground at Liberation Church, because I believe it's going to propel me for other opportunities to do, more opportunities to do things like this at other churches as well. Because I do rep God all day long. It would be great to work for Him,
Right.
and just do it full time, and really just draw the masses to Him. And so to do it through marketing, I mean, it's the best. It's really one of the best things that we get to do, and come up with, great events, great little trinkets and things that we like to add to our services, and things that we like to do to keep people interested in coming to church. And it's really motivating.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other part of what I do in my business, as well as what I do for my church.
Mm. I love how you keep saying, like, I didn't know about this area. I didn't know, about marketing all the way, but you saw potential. And one of the things that you kept doing and you keep doing is you put yourself out there. You keep making intentional moves to learn, to sit next to someone, to connect with someone who knows exactly what they're doing, and to learn. And sometimes, like, I don't know, because for me, and I'm sure for you too, it's just like, duh, if you don't know something, ask and learn. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure you know that it is so, like, so many people have problems with asking, or so many people have problems with just going up to someone and saying, hey, can you teach me how to do this? Can you help
Mm-hmm.
me do this? And you'll be surprised how many people I run into and I know that have sat on an idea or a talent, a gift for so long because they are afraid to be teachable, like you said. They're afraid to ask for help. They're afraid to develop that idea or gift simply because they don't want to look like they don't know something. Like that is, I mean, it's a little
That's a
crazy.
seed. Like that's a bad seed that was planted long before
Mm,
they could even remember. Like it was a moment of rejection. It
mm,
was something that happened that allowed them as an adult to never like fully pursue those things that actually, they're really interested in doing. And so we see the full grown version of it. But the
mm-hmm.
seed was planted long before the conversation you had with that person. And it's like, a lot of times we don't realize it, and it's like, why you shrink back? Like
Yes.
why you don't want to pursue this, or why don't you feel like you need to learn? And it goes all the way back in first grade when you raised your
Yeah.
hand and you had the idea, and that teacher shut you down, or your classmates laughed at you because it wasn't what everyone else was thinking. Whatever happened, and like everything is connected to something.
Mm,
And that's why it's so important for everybody to just be on the journey to wholeness. Like you might
mm.
not see it, but it's always a traumatic event or an important thing that has happened in your life that affected you like forever. I know I just took this
Girl.
conversation somewhere else.
I mean, you, first of all, you in my stuff. But not only that, I mean, we gonna have to have part two to this.
That's part two. We're
That's
not even
part
gonna
two
touch
because
that.
we got to
Let's not
talk
do that.
about just the impact of the things that may have happened at one point in life that have had lasting effects, and how
Hmm.
tragedy can really like hold you back if you're not working through that, like you said, walking towards wholeness. And then how therapy can really 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 make a
Yes.
difference in your life. And I have to bring you back for part two because we got to talk about therapy. I've gone to therapy. I know that therapy is something that you also promote, and
Yes.
we definitely, girl, I can't even wait. But listen,
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
let's get there. But I also want to know, and it kind of relates to the same avenue of what we were just talking about. How did mentorship and or spiritual guidance play a role in what you are now walking in, which is your winning season?
Mm, I will definitely say that finding the right mentor and the right spirit, the right influencer in your life, is it'll change you forever. It can work for you, or it could really harm you. So it's really important to be spirit led, and not be ready to jump on every, hot person that's out that got a mentorship group that you need to sign up for. Like, that's not the wave, even though that's where everybody is, and that's everyone's trying to get, on someone's
Like
mentorship
everybody's a
program.
coach.
Everybody's a life coach. Not only is everybody a life coach, but like I said, everybody wants to glean from someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing of the matter is, I believe that God definitely places mentors in our lives, and
Mm-hmm.
and oftentimes we reject those who we really need to get it from
Mm-hmm.
because they're not the cool one, or they're not the one that's giving you what you think you need, but you're really getting what you need. And the reason why I say that is because we're such a microwave generation, we like to pop, on what's hot, and we want it fast.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about real mentorship, it takes time. It's not something that you can do in 6 to 8 weeks, and not even 6 to 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's a process. And you want to be able to have somebody walk with you through the good, the bad, and the ugly. You can get little nuggets here and there from different little FaceTime or Facebook lives and different things like that. That sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're really trying to walk through life, and you're really coming against some hard stuff in your life, it's important that you have somebody that is really, in your favor, to be in your ear,
Mm-hmm.
that can really, really talk you through some of those times. And so, I mean, it has helped me tremendously because it hasn't always been something that I've always wanted to be committed to.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that if I stayed with this person and I walked with this person, that I was going to grow no matter what. All right, this ain't going to feel good. This is not, what I want to do right now. No, I don't want to be accountable right now, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. And, even in those seasons when you make, bad mistakes, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and tell on myself, so I can go ahead and deal with this and move on. It takes maturity. And so, once you commit to somebody and somebody commits to you, it's all about consistency and sticking with it, even when it doesn't look like anything's happening at the moment. So if it's like, all right, we're going to meet every week for the next X amount of time, meet every week. It's
Mm-hmm.
a part of your consistency. It's a part of, you gaining some things. You don't see the value of it now, but you're going to see the value of it later. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's so pivotal for growth, to be committed to a mentor, and of course their life should speak for them,
Mm-hmm.
hands down. You don't commit yourself to somebody, who doesn't have any good fruit,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just the bottom line. You want to be connected to somebody that has good fruit, and also connected to somebody who actually has time for you,
Mm.
because there are good people out here who we, really want to be connected to, but it might not be for us to be connected to them. Find somebody in your sphere of influence, or somebody in your area who can, who, what, okay, this is a good person. I can connect with them. They're doing well on their job, they're elevating, they're doing this, doing that. This is good enough for me, because they know the basics.
Mm-hmm.
They got the formula. It's
Mm-hmm.
working for them.
Right.
On their level, it's working for them. And sometimes we try to shoot too high, even when it comes to picking a mentor. Like, you want TD Jakes and you'll never meet him.
Right.
Like, you
You
need
want
to
TD
get with.
Jakes, but you can't even talk to your own pastor.
Right. That's a whole another, ball game. Your mentor don't have to be your pastor, but at the end of the day, like, you have people right amongst you
Yes.
who can walk with you, and you avoid them because either A, you're too familiar with them,
Mm.
and you don't see, the purpose that they have in your life. And that's the number one reason why a lot of people are missing the mentors that they need, because they're too familiar. They feel like they already know, what they're capable of doing, but they really have no idea.
Right.
And that's why it's important for you to be consistent. I walk with my mentor just watching her life,
Mm-hmm.
and it's convicted me on decisions that I made,
Mm-hmm.
or think every time I wanted to quit, and I was like, dang. I can't quit because she ain't quit.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, I can't do this because she ain't do this. And
Yes.
so that's how you know you got a mentor, because you're watching their posture, and based off of their posture, you maintain your posture.
Mm. That's heavy.
You maintain your posture. They help you stay up.
Mm.
And that's where we fail to realize. But that's a whole nother.
You are just dropping gems. One of the things I heard you say was how sometimes we neglect to entertain someone that could be our mentor simply because they're not the right package. And when
Right.
you look on their Instagram page, they got 3 followers.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at their Facebook page, it's dry. But
Mm-hmm.
but they may be the person that has so much wisdom, and
Yep.
can pour out right into you. And like you said, by watching their lifestyle, it may not be on social media, but when you connect with them on Wednesdays at 6 o'clock, they're able to pour into you more than they can ever pour into you on social media. And so, like
Yes.
you said, just taking the time um, to sit under them, sit and learn and listen and be accountable and be consistent, with them and to them. They'll cut down your learning curve in half, you know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because they'll teach you things that you don't have to necessarily experience. And that was one of the things that, I mean, my initial, like, walking with God, when I really started to really live for Him. It was this song, by The Truth, and he was talking about, like, I don't need no testimony. Like, I don't have to go through this. I don't have to experience it. You know, I don't need a horror story just to have a testimony. I'm sorry.
Yes.
That's basically what he was saying. I don't need my story to be crazy,
Mhm.
um, in order to feel like, God can get the glory out of my life. And I think that, oftentimes, people feel like, oh, I gotta go through this and that in order for, me to have a story to tell. But
Mhm.
no, you got your own story to tell.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 I do want to shift gears. I mean, oh God, that conversation was so good. I do want to shift gears a little bit though and talk about some of the things that you do. So, I want to know why you feel that branding is so important for people who are pursuing, and not just branding, but image in general. Why is that so important for people who are pursuing whatever they are pursuing, whether it be an entrepreneurial business or idea, or like you said, if it's a church who is looking to grow, like why or what's the importance of image and branding for that person, entity, or group?
Well, first of all, branding is important not only because it's something that gives you like a memorable impression, it lasts in your mind, but it's also important because it allows your future clients and customers to know what to expect from you.
Mm-hmm.
Period. You know what I mean? It's like you're showing them who you are, you're showing them what you have to offer, and you're basically not calling them no bluff. Like, you're really giving them your best. You're putting your best foot forward. And I'm so passionate about it because, first of all, I love, my makeup and who I am, the DNA that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if anything, I want people, I have the Lease Alter Creative Firm, but everything about me, even on my business page, it's basically showing you who I really am.
Right.
It's not so stiff and perfect to the point where I can't show you a piece of Lee,
Mm-hmm.
and so, and there are businesses that need to, stick to what they're about. But when you want to put a brand out and put an image out, it's just showing them who you really are. And a lot of time with social media and all that different things like that, it can cause you to kind of lose yourself or not even be who you're presenting to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the part, you got to be who you supposed to be, how people talk about it, on social media, but be who you supposed to be in business and life, and everything else. And so when people see that what you're, promoting is who you really are, that's when it's like, boom,
Yeah.
you got business,
Yeah.
because they're like, wow, I saw you on social media. And then when you have that first conversation with them, and then they're like, wow, she's really down to earth. I really enjoyed, talking to her. I'm going to book her. And then when the business shows up and, you really perform well for them, then they start to, refer you to other people, and it just begins to grow. So even with all the branding and all the different things with your image, it's just making sure everything matches up and lines up, but not trying to go so over and beyond that is outside of who you are.
I love that. I love how you sum that up, because I read somewhere, I think it was on social media actually, it said that, or you know what, in my research, it says that people connect with you as the person that you are before they can buy anything from you. So a lot of people out here like, buy this course and, follow, buy this ebook from me, but we don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
And people want to know who you are. So when you show up online, like you said, when you're branding yourself, be authentic and show who you are, so that we can get to know you, find out what your story is, who are you. And then
Right.
once we connect with you, we can buy from you. I have people that I follow, even in podcasts, who I listen to on a consistent basis, and because I feel like I know them, I continue to follow them. I'll buy whatever product they come out with, because they've consistently showed their authentic self,
Right. Right.
and that is so, so, so important. Just a little bit about you. What are some current goals that you might be pursuing, and what steps are you taking to achieve them?
Well, let's see.
Come on, vocal.
Ah, well, let's see. I mean, my current goals right now is, one of the top goals for me, I feel like, is just continuing to stay on a journey of wholeness, because life can really throw you.
Mm-hmm.
It can really throw you for a loop. And if you're not taking time for self-care, and making sure you're there for your family, and making sure you're divvying out your energy the way that it's supposed to, then all those goals mean absolutely nothing.
Right.
And so that's like one of my top things, just making sure, self care is always in the equation.
Yeah.
The next thing is, I really feel like I don't know how close, but I know I'm preparing, to just do what I love to do. And I'm okay with working my 9 to 5. I'm okay if somebody hires me with the perfect job description that fits all the creative things that I love to do. I'm okay with having my business and working, but
Mm-hmm.
what I want it to look like is it fits me. It's something that, I wake up every day and it energizes me,
Yeah.
and I can do it for hours, and constantly just doing what I love to do. So that's like one of my next goals. Like, I really want to be working in a space where everything I love to do is pretty much there. And even if that means like I am, working my business full time, or like I said, or if I'm being hired somewhere where I'm allowed to be as creative as I like to be, I'm willing to do either or. Because I was raised to work that job. Don't you
Hello,
quit
you
that
gotta have a
job.
back. Listen, I understand.
Have a backup plan.
Hello.
And so I stick to that. One thing I will say, I don't care how creative as that I might be, I get up
Mm-hmm.
and I go to that 9 to 5 every single day.
Then 9 to 5 feeds and gives you the money and the resources
Mhm.
to be able to pursue your passions. I always
Mhm.
say that, like, I'm not about to give my job 8 hours and not come home and give my idea, my business, a couple of hours a night.
That's
But
right.
had it not been for my 9 to 5, I would not be able to have the resources to pour into my passions and my business. And so many people get
Absolutely.
that they get that twisted. Like, no,
Mhm.
you
I don't know
gotta
where it came from. I don't. Let
listen.
me tell you, it just happened. It's just something in the air, and I was like, "What is wrong with everybody quitting their job?
Right.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Everybody can't quit their
No.
job."
No. Exactly. Somebody has to be doing something. I definitely want to, at another point in time, I'm believing, and I know that one of my seasons on this show is going to deal with wholeness and self care. I haven't even thought about how it's going to roll out, but it is definitely something that is part of my passions. One of the things that I started right before this podcast. I don't even believe I'm saying this because nobody knows this at all. I haven't even told my husband.
Oh Lord, I'm the first to know.
You the first to know. You and all these listeners. But right before, I would say yes, right before the summer of this year, I started an Instagram page called the Healthy Wives Project. And it came about because I realized that when I got married, although I was like ecstatic over the moon about getting married, and although I had found my soulmate, the love of my life, all of that was in place. The one thing that wasn't in place was I was like, I wasn't really 100% ready for marriage. And it was from an emotional state because of things that I had experienced. And so I had gone on a journey to wholeness, right? Going to therapy, prayer, talking about it. My therapist told me that I had PTSD, and she said that the things that I am able to work through with she said the things that I've seen you work through, those same things people need medication for.
I'm trying to tell you.
Listen, and so I know that I have overcome some things, and
Yes.
so I started the Healthy Wives Project to just start that conversation about for people who are married and for people who are seeking to be married. Like, listen, wholeness is number one. And being healthy, is everything. And you can't go into a marriage, well, you can go into a marriage and be unhealthy because I did it, but at the same time, you shouldn't. And you got to realize when you're unhealthy. You got to recognize when something is off. And then it's up to you, because you're the creator of your marriage. You're the creative director of your marriage, you and your husband. So it's up to you to make that as beautiful as you want it to be, but you can't do it if you're not healthy. And so yeah, I started that.
Amen.
And
Amen.
and every time I'm like, I don't feel like posting today. I ain't got nothing to say. The Lord's like, yes, you do.
You got a lot to say.
Yes. So yeah, the Healthy Wives Project.
I love it. I gotta go look for it now. I'm gonna release that. Now I'm gonna go look.
And now I gotta start
Healthy
posting
Wives
again.
Project, people. Y'all hear that?
Now I gotta start posting again.
Yeah.
Please, please, please tell people how they can find you, how they can connect with your business, and just a little bit about, where you can be found.
I can be found on Facebook at Lee, Lee, Heron Salter, Salter. Also, my business page is on Facebook, and it is the Lee Salter Creative Firm. And also on Instagram at Lee, Lee _ Heron Salter.
And I will definitely link those below in the show notes for everyone who's listening. But before we go, I have a pop quiz for you.
Oh no!
All right. Ready. So the way this goes is I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and I just need you to tell me your first responses that come to mind. Okay. So, the first one is, in 3 words or less, describe growth.
Growth. Painful. Purposeful. And powerful.
Ooh, I love it. So much to unpack in those 3 things. I've never thought of. Can you say it one more time? Wait, say it one more time.
Growth is painful, purposeful, yet powerful.
You know how the Bible says Selah? Like, that means pause. Like, I can't even get into that. The painful part. The painful part. But the purposeful part.
Yeah.
And then the powerful part.
That's right.
Girl, you about to take me to church.
Listen.
The second question, what does progress look like for you? Or how do you measure your progress?
I measure my progress by my consistency.
Okay.
Because and I've lacked consistency at one point in my life. And so whenever I start something and then I don't finish, or if I get on a journey and I'm no longer interested, I feel like I haven't progressed anywhere. But I've found much progression in my consistency. I've seen me get from one place, I've seen me start at one place and end up way further along because I stayed on the same course for X amount of time. And that's basically, and that might seem like an oxymoron to people because you're like, okay, consistency is doing the same thing over and over. But what people fail to realize is consistency is also progression.
Yes.
It moves you from one place to the next, and from your consistency is also there comes elevation. That's progression.
Yes. I thought about how if it was the big if I stay in the gym for 3 months, yes, I'm being consistent because I'm going every day or whatever my schedule is, but I am making progress because I'm able to do more than I did the day before, right? So yeah. What is one thing that people can do to live an intentional, purposeful life starting today?
One thing people can do to live an intentional, purposeful life starting today. I would say one thing that you can do is just commit. Like, whatever it is you want to do, commit to it. You know, if you're inspired to do something, commit to it. I'm all about consistency, committing, seeing something through, because without that, you won't. That's basically intentionality. When you're being intentional, when you decide to commit, when you're being loyal to something, when you're like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. So I would just say, pick that one thing and commit to it. Be consistent to it. Start today. Read the Bible today. Pray today. Or go to the gym today. Eat healthy today. Start the business plan today, and commit to it and see it through.
Yes. So I know you told us where we could find you, but I also know that you offer services. And so for our listeners, I would like to connect them to you. Tell us where we can find you and find out more about the services that you offer.
You all can visit my website, which I absolutely love, and I hope you guys love it too.
It's dope.
It's www.leesaltercreativefirm.com, and you guys can go there, and you can also email me at lee@leesaltercreativefirm.com. All these ats and .coms and wwws. I hope y'all got it.
Yeah, I'll definitely link it below in the show notes. Thank you so much, Lee, for joining us on the Progress on Purpose podcast. Oh, it's been a pleasure. Listen, guys, this will not be the only time you hear from Lee, because as you can tell, she has so much inside of her, the experience that she has, even beyond what she does for her living and for her business. The girl is anointed, and I know y'all can feel the oil. And girl, you got so much in you. I definitely want to bring you back again. So thank you for being willing to share and to I told you it was going to be amazing, right?
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so, honored to even do this. Like I said, we have so much history, and if the viewers or the listeners would know, they would really appreciate, how people can connect and still be. You don't have to talk every day, but you can connect and leave off right where you left off.
That's it.
So that's definitely a testament to Michelle and I's relationship for sure.
Yes. I'm looking forward to, now that we talk, like I feel like I need you to be my accountability partner. Like, we need to
call me every day.
Listen.
No.
We got to connect, because there is some fearlessness in you that I need to rub off on me. And whatever I got in here, I want to listen, we got to work together. So
Absolutely.
I definitely want to connect with you, Lee.
Absolutely.
Please say hi to the family. and continue being a great wife, a great mom, a great leader in your ministry. Continue to inspire people. Like when I look at your page and how I see you show up on social media, you always show up well. Like you always present your best self, and whenever you're in pictures with other people, you can always just see the joy that people have being around you. Like you're a light to so many people. You are an inspiration to so many people. It's obvious. I mean, it is obvious.
Oh my gosh, stop it.
No, I gotta tell you, I don't get a chance to talk to you all the time, so I'm gonna tell you right now. You are a dope individual, young lady, and you elevate my womanhood every single time I see you show up. It makes me be like, I gotta get my stuff together.
Oh my gosh.
You're amazing.
Stop. Look, we're all a work in progress.
Listen,
okay?
Not a piece of work. We not a piece of work. We a work in progress. So love.
We are a work in progress. Let me tell you, till Jesus comes.
Listen, that's it. But thank you again and again and again.
You're welcome.
Yes, we'll definitely be in contact. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Okay, didn't I tell you that was going to be a full meal? I'm so excited that you were able to join us today. I ask that you would be kind enough to subscribe to this podcast on whatever listening devices you are listening on so that you can stay connected with us. Also connect with us on Facebook at Progress on Purpose Podcast, as well as on Instagram at Progress on Purpose Podcast. If you have questions, if you would like to hear us talk about something on the show, whether it be in this season, the winning season, or for a future season, please reach out by DMing us, or you can hit us up at progressonpurposepodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, but until then, take care.